Sandy says read, and welcome to the channel. Today, you guys, we are going to do a review and discussion of Talon by Julie Kagawa. Let me make sure I don't have a glare on it. Can you see that? It's a really cool book. I want you to see this cover. I want you to be able to see it's like a metallic raised script going on here with the dragon inside the letter O. That it's just very cool. I think it's a very cool book as well. This is a young adult fantasy, urban fantasy novel. Even though this one's been out for a little while, okay, it was released in 2014, and it's the first in a series. So we know that some of these characters like survive to go on, and continue their adventures in the rest of the series. Even though these things are true, I don't want to give away too many spoilers. There is stuff that happens in here that I don't want to give it all away. So I will be careful to avoid big, hairy spoilers or big, scaly spoilers, as the case may be in this particular story. All right, you guys, I'm going to begin by asking y'all to remember we have a Bingo Baker card. You can go to the Bingo Baker link that I will put in the drop-down box below and generate your own Sandy Says Read bingo card so you can check off some of these phrases as I say them during this review and discussion. There are no prizes for this. No prizes. I can't afford to give away prizes, but you do get a fabulous dopamine hit each time I say one of these things as we go through this review. Hooray. What else do I need to do? Other housekeeping things. Oh, yes, I have a merch shop. I will put the link to that in the drop-down box below. The merch shop is where you can get fabulous bookish items that have dragon-like sayings on them and other bookish stuff. Yeah. Then doesn't that sound appealing? Okay, you guys, I am going to end up editing the crap out of this video. I have already had to edit out a coughing fit and now sneezing and blowing my nose. So yeah, just be aware. All kinds of things are going to be editing and jumping throughout this video. I apologize in advance. But here we go. All right, let me give you the specs. The specs for Talon, book 1 of the Talon Saga. This is by Julie Kagawa. It was published by Harlequin Teen in 2014. This particular edition, upside down, this particular edition is 433 pages plus a 1-page epilogue. It is written in first-person point of view from Ember's point of view, and in first point of view from Garrett's point of view, and in first-person point of view from Riley's point of view. Yeah, we have 3 characters telling us the story. And it's written in past tense. Thank God. At least I had that. Okay, I'm not... how should I phrase this? I prefer stories in third person omniscient past tense. That's the way I prefer stories to be told. It's just my personal preference. Your results may vary. This worked though, because each first person story was told it was encapsulated in a chapter. That probably made no sense whatsoever. How should I explain it? Each chapter had a heading, and the heading was the name of the character whose point of view we were going to be in. That works better? Yeah. All right. You probably understood what I was trying to say. Let me read the back cover for you before we dive into the book. The back cover. The dragons of Talon, once hunted nearly to extinction, they are now poised to take over the world. The Order of St. George, the legendary dragon slayers who will stop at nothing to wipe dragons from the face of the earth. These mortal enemies are locked in secret and deadly combat, with humanity none the wiser. To take her rightful place in the Talon organization, young dragon Ember Hill must prove she can hide her true nature and blend in with humans. Her delight at the prospect of a summer of normal teen experiences is short-lived, however, once she discovers that she's also expected to train for her destined career in Talon. But a chance meeting with a rogue dragon will soon challenge everything Ember has been taught. As Ember struggles to accept her future, St. George soldier Garrett Xavier Sebastian is tasked with hunting her down. But when faced with Ember's bravery, confidence, and all too human desires, Garrett begins to question everything the Order has ingrained in him and what he might be willing to give up to uncover the truth about dragons. You guys, the theme of this book is in that last sentence right there. And we're going to talk about that when we dive into this discussion, okay? But I want to start with something that struck me and messed with me on page 1. Okay, we've just read the back cover synopsis, the back cover stuff, right? And when we got to page 1, I'm reading, get to page 1. I should have put a bookmark there, right, guys? Hang on. Page 1, okay, it is told in, we've got Ember, okay, it's in Ember's point of view. And we start, Ember, when did your parents die? And what was the cause of death? I stifled a groan and tore my gaze from the car window where the bright, sunny town of Crescent Beach shimmered beyond the tinted glass. The air in the black sedan was cold and stale, and, annoyingly, the driver had engaged the child safety locks so I couldn't roll down the window. We'd been stuck in the car for hours, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I was told on this back cover that Ember Hill is a young dragon. Okay, so when I got to this first page and we're in a car and we're driving on a sunny beach town and we're stuck in the back of this car with child safety locks, I was totally confused. Totally confused. I was like, wait a minute. Why is there a dragon in the back of a limo? What's happening here? I was so confused, you guys. It took me a hot minute to figure out. Ember Hill is a teenager. She is a teenage girl, but she's really not. She's a teenage girl on the outside. We humans here in the world, when we look at her, we will see a teenage human girl because she's a shapeshifter. The dragons are shapeshifters. They can shapeshift into humanoid form. They can look like humans. That is how they blend in with us. This is how it works. It just in that's brilliant. It's just the very first page. I'm reading it going, wait, why is the dragon in a car? Okay, so our characters are, the characters who came from Talon are Ember and her brother Dante. They're twins, Ember Hill and Dante Hill. They supposedly have dragon names also. I think Ember's dragon name is Firebrand. I think, because that is what the rogue dragon calls her, like from the very beginning, or that's just a pet name that he has for her. But they are young dragons. They are younglings. They are hatchlings. They're still considered hatchlings, even though they are teenage. Okay, 16-ish, right? They can drive. They're old enough to drive in our society. Okay. The other characters we have, these other main characters we have are Garrett, who we talked about on the back cover, and Tristan. Garrett is 17 years old. Tristan, I think, is a couple years older. I get the impression he's in his 20s. These two are soldiers. They have trained to kill dragons. They are dragon slayers. They are in the Order of St. George. And can I just say, I love the fact that it's named St. George. That works for me. I appreciate that greatly. Anyway, they are trained to fight in the Order of St. George. These two are their partners. They're brothers at arms, right? And when we first meet them in the book, they are in battle. They're fighting against a big, huge fire-breathing dragon. And Tristan is the guy who's behind like a big cannon type weapon, okay? And Garrett he's more spry, he's more running into danger and drawing the dragon fire away, right? But these two, they work well together. So when they are assigned to go on like a secret mission to ferret out this new dragon that they've heard is being placed in society, they go together. They are the espionage team that goes to find this supposed dragon that is in this Crescent Beach community. Okay, they get sent to find who is that dragon, ferret that dragon out, find it, kill it. Okay, that's their mission. I had many moments where I was reading either Ember's story or Garrett's story. I was in one of their chapters and I had to stop and think, wait, whose point of view am I in? Because Ember and Garrett were both on a similar arc. These two were on this arc of learning, okay, the stuff I've been told, the stuff that's been ingrained in me, the stuff that's been preached to me might not be real, might not be true. And these two characters were the same age. So they had similar, I don't want to say, they had similar hangups. They had similar insecurities going on inside them. I mean, they're 17 years old, right? When you're 17, you have insecurities, whether you are, a dragon who's been sent to infiltrate America, or whether you're a soldier for St. George and you've been sent to find that dragon who's infiltrated America, right? There are going to be certain truths about a 17-year-old that you can't get past. All right. So there you go. The weird thing is there were times when Garrett was talking and I lost track of the fact that he was 17 because he's a soldier. And he had so much experience in being a soldier, so much experience in going into foreign lands, ferreting out big evil beasties and killing them. Please keep in mind, I like dragons. Please keep in mind, I write about dragons, morally gray dragons at times, right? And so it was difficult for me to read about dragons being ruthlessly slain. It was difficult for me to read like the first encounter with one of these fire-breathing dragons just being mercilessly murdered by humans. It was difficult for me to read that because I'm reading it like, well, hang on. Are all these dragons bad? What's up with that? Is there no room for us to look at these dragons as, hey, maybe they're not so awful? I mean, maybe they're just hiding out. I don't know if I was supposed to be thinking that way, but I was, and it bothered me. Okay, let's go to page 141, where I had a moment of thinking, it's so weird how Garrett, in my mind, could switch between being this seasoned veteran of this Order of St. George, being a ruthless killer of bad things, and then a 17-year-old in the backseat of a car worried about the girl next to him, right? And I wrote here in the margin, it's hard to believe this guy is a teenager. And then, whoosh, we'd go into, yeah, he's a teenager. So I underlined this. And this is in Garrett's point of view, so it's Garrett talking. I hadn't been around many civilians, certainly not many females my own age. There were women in the order, but they occupied the jobs outside of combat, gathering intelligence, handling paperwork, saving a soldier's life when he got himself incinerated by a dragon. They were crucial to the order, but there were no female soldiers in St. George. Tristan had no problems talking to girls, especially when he had a few, but when faced with a member of the opposite sex, I usually found myself with nothing to say, so I avoided them when I could. The mission, I reminded myself, focus on the mission. I could not be distracted by this girl. I couldn't let myself think of her as anything but an objective. So he's in the backseat of a car with Ember Hill, and he's trying to figure out, hey, is she the dragon we're supposed to be looking for? Or is she just a gal who I think is pretty cool? Okay. Yeah. Then let's see. We have on page 209 where Garrett is figuring out that, well, let's go to page 209. I'll read for you. This is in Garrett's point of view again. He's saying, he's talking to Tristan, and he's saying, they were flawless mimics of the human race, which was what made them so dangerous, but they had no real concept of friendship, sorrow, love, or regret. At least that's what I'd always been told. So he's figuring out the Order of St. George has been teaching him that the dragons have no real emotions. They don't have human feelings. They don't have this sense of right or wrong like humans do. The dragons don't feel love like humans do. The dragons don't have friendships like humans do. Or do they? He's starting to question this because he's starting to question, hey, if Ember Hill is one of these dragons, boy, she sure is very human-like. Boy, she sure is developing friendships, and I'm developing feelings for her. He's starting to question what he's been taught. Ember is going through the same thing. She's looking at humans differently. She's looking at the things she's been taught differently. And that is the theme of this book. They're figuring out, boy, the stuff that their respective government entities have taught them isn't quite true. Maybe they've been misled. Okay, another character that we have in the book is Riley the Rogue. Riley is a dragon who has been put into human form. He has shapeshifted into human form, and he has come to this community in the past. And he figured out that Talon had lied to him, that Talon had misled him, that it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. And he escaped. He got out. And so now he's considered a rogue. And the group, Talon, would like to capture him, bring him back to the fold, kill him if they need to, definitely re-brainwash him. That's their goal, is to get him back and bring him back in line. He has a friend with him named Wes. Wes is a fellow. He's true human. There's no dragon in him. He is absolutely a human. He's very good at technical stuff and internet things. He's the cyber dude, right? And so when they like rent a house to house sit this place for the summer, and so Wes is the one who can rig up all the cameras and security devices at that house. Strangely enough, they don't do that the minute they move in. It boggles my mind. They don't do that until, let's see, page 300. Let's go to page 300. When we have Riley and Wes at the house, and they have some other dragon fledglings at the house as humans. And I wrote in the margin, why didn't they do this a month ago? Because we're in Riley's point of view, and Riley is saying, I ignored the jab. We need to secure the house, I said, slipping into safeguard mode now that we weren't leaving yet. Alarms, cameras, motion detectors, everything. If St. George comes within 100 feet of the gate, I want to know. How soon can you set that up? Wes scrubbed a hand over his face. Get me the equipment, and I'll have it up and running by tomorrow. Good. Start working on that now. I'll get you what you need later tonight. So they're going to set up all that they need to basically alert them if any enemies should come to their door. Their enemies include people from Talon, dangerous, bad baddies from Talon, and dangerous, bad baddies from St. George. Basically, the bad people from both of those groups are after Riley and Wes, and they haven't set up security at this house before now. But they're doing it now. They're setting it up now. They're going to set this up, and they're going to be okay. It's going to alert them when baddies show up, so that's good. It helps build tension and suspense, so that is good. But the thing is, Riley has been hiding from both Talon and the Order, but he recognizes that Ember Hill is special. The Talon, the group of Talon, they recognize that Ember Hill is special. She's not just a hatchling with a brother in this town who's learning all the things she's supposed to learn. She's special. There's something about her. She can kick butt when she needs to, right? And so everybody wants to make sure everybody at Talon wants to make sure she stays in Talon. Riley would really like for her to get out of Talon. Okay. And Garrett, when he figures out, wait a minute, there's something special about this girl, he's conflicted, and all the conflicts is happening. It's all conflict and mayhem. Let's go to page 368, where I underlined the theme. We have a character that Ember refers to as the Scary Dragon Lady. Scary Dragon Lady is basically an older dragon, much older dragon, very experienced, scary, who can shapeshift. They can all shapeshift. She shapeshifts into a human who acts as a trainer for Ember Hill. She trains Ember every morning on different types of combat and espionage and getting away from things, yada, 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 right? She's training her. She's not a great character. Let me leave it at that. Okay. Ember is figuring out that the members of Talon are not really necessarily her friends. Okay. The members of St. George, not her friends. Okay, she is figuring out that maybe going rogue is one way to go. Maybe staying in Talon and convincing others that the rogue dragons are not bad might be a way to go. She's trying to figure out her place in the world. Like a teenager, she's trying to figure out her place in the world, and she's having a moment. We're getting near the climax of the book. She's having a moment, and she's saying, but it's so pointless. She raged, baring her fangs. Has anyone tried talking to each other? She's trying to figure out, why can't these factions just talk to each other and talk it through and, be political perhaps. Riley snorts a laugh at her, wincing as it sent a stab of pain through my ribs. You just saw what St. George is like. If you think you can get through to them, by all means, go back tonight and try to have a conversation. But I bet you won't get within 100 yards before they start firing. You can't reason with fanatics, Firebrand, I told her gently. St. George hates us because we're dragons. And that's the only cause they need to wipe us out. They see us as monsters. That's why they want us extinct. And that is the theme. The members of Talon see the humans as a means to an end. The members of St. George see the dragons as monsters needing to be extinguished. The humans don't know what's going on. The humans are oblivious to it all, right? We're just stupid. But these factions, they will not sit down and talk to each other. These factions will not come together and be peaceful for even a minute to listen to what the other has to say. They won't like have a truce. They won't have a moment where they will listen to one another. That's just it's a fantastic message in this young adult book to see. It's a fantastic message to see how much angst and strife and mayhem and bloodshed and sorrow and splitting of families and splitting of hearts can happen when people just won't sit the freak down and talk to one another. And that, my friends, is my review of Talon by Julie Kagawa, which I enjoyed very much. Good book, good message, good ideas, just good stuff in this book. Thumbs up for getting good messages across to our young adults in their books. I can highly recommend this one. Thank you so much for tuning in.